I know you can, yeah.
Sing
Like a star, yeah. You can sing like a star. You can sing like a star.
You can sing like a star.
Yeah.
You can sing like a star.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 8 Steps of Vocal Development webinar. I want to thank Dean Kalin for inviting me to do this webinar, and it just made me get my act together and do something that I've been meaning to do for a long time. Just to let you know, it's a lot of information, and I won't have time to really take questions, but you can type questions into the Q&A, and I am willing to stay at the end and just answer all questions. The webinar will be recorded, so you will be able to access it later. We probably will go over time, probably go over an hour. It's going to take that long to, present everything, but feel free to just log off and go do your thing, because we'll record the whole thing and you can come back and access it anytime you want to. It's just, there's a lot of information. But welcome, 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 everybody. It's so good to have you here, and let's just get started. So a little bit about me. I've had over 40 years now, can't believe it's been that long, of professional singing, teaching, and research. And I seem to remember Dean Kalin being my accompanist when I worked with Seth in LA. That's how long ago that was. I started my music career as a professional singer in Los Angeles in the 80s. I did all kinds of bands, cover bands, rock bands, R&B bands, recorded songs, just did a lot of singing. I'm going to move this guy over here. Okay. I have a bachelor's and a master's degrees in vocal performance, which was a nice adjunct to the real world experience of being in the trenches singing rock and roll. I had 15 years or more with speech level singing, SLS, achieved the highest level of certification there, which was level 5. I wrote the SLS Teacher's Training Manual. Yes, it was me. It was me. Yes, that was used to train SLS teachers around the world. Currently on the board of IVTOM, International Voice Teachers of Mix, and we are on the cutting edge of vocal science. Yes, we are. Through my career, I became determined as a teacher to find an approach based on truth rather than an opinion. So for many years, I've been on a quest for science-based information about the function of the singing voice and the most effective methods of teaching contemporary singers. That journey resulted in the vitally important information that you will be learning here. I used my years of professional performing experience combined with vocal training from the best in the business to develop a vocal method that embraces the requirements of contemporary music while encouraging and maintaining vocal health. Many traditional teaching methods, though they encourage healthy singing habits, are not necessarily designed to develop the edge, power, and pop timbre that the contemporary singer needs. And here's a few little shots of me in the 80s, many bands, many hairstyles there. All right. So at this point, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I own Sing Like a Star Studios. We have 2 locations. I have 5 associate teachers working for me, and they're all trained with the Sing Like a Star method. So they all learn the 8 steps of vocal development and teach the students with this method. I moved here in 2001 and opened Sing Like a Star Studios. By 2013, I was teaching 7 days a week, so I decided to train SLAS associate teachers to teach my method. 2014, I wrote a book called You Can Sing Like a Star, which includes the vocal science and a teacher training manual. And I began the process, which is still going on, of recording many hundreds of MP3 instrumental tracks for the teachers to use in teaching voice lessons. That's been the slowest part of the process. Here's the covers to the 2 books. Here's just a few examples of students that I've trained with the 8 steps of vocal development. Angelica Hale, who a lot of people have been following. This is her when she got the buzzer. Laura Suzanne Wright on American Idol. Christina Pasqualone, she was on American Idol. I know she actually did work with probably more than one mixed teacher in our group. So yeah. And another student of mine that's done very well is Jennifer Geller, who's on Broadway now.
'Cause you are the piece of me I wish I didn't need. Chasing relentlessly, still fight and I don't know why. Oh, then I'll push too deep and I'll fall right back to you. 'Cause you are the piece of me I wish I didn't need. Chasing relentlessly, still fight, I don't know why. If our love is tragedy, why are you my remedy? If our love's insanity, why are you my clarity? Why are you my clarity?
Said he's going back to find oh, to one simpler place and time. Oh, yes, he is. Till now, I've always got right on my own. I never really cared until I met you. And now it choose me to some people wanna be alone. The thing I need you, baby. Find out you, baby. Some people want things, some just want everything, but everything needs nothing. Mommy, you got lots of friends. Which you can help yourself, but don't take too much. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God is the child who's got his own, who's got Another voice I could listen to all day, just fabulous singer. All right, why the 8-step system was developed. To train other teachers to teach at a level that has taken me a huge investment of time and money over 40 years to acquire and perfect. It was really developed to give beginning teachers, mostly my associates at this point, but hopefully others as well, a results guaranteed method that a master teacher would possess, but quickly. To that end, hundreds of instrumental tracks have been recorded for teachers to use in lessons. And the tracks are not just piano, but real music, and they're lots of fun. The students just love them. Same thing with contemporary singers that want a self-training method. Lots of tracks to practice with. They're fun. To provide an objective-based approach where goals are specific and measurable. Lastly, to gather and disseminate information on the science of vocal production and the exciting new discoveries in vocal science that have recently become available. So it's part exercises and it's part text and science. What the 8 steps of vocal development method is. Okay, it's based on the concept of sequential skill building. Each step develops the skills and coordination to be able to progress to the next step. When a singer can easily sing the exercises in one round, they're ready to move to the next round, which is exercises of a greater difficulty. Exercises are presented in order of difficulty. Round 1 exercises. So I have them broken down into round 1, round 2, and round 3. So round 1 exercises are the discovery process where the student experiences a new vocal coordination for the first time. Round 2 exercises are the reinforcement process, where we reinforce new skills. In other words, they're higher level skills. And round 3 exercises are the development process. These are the most difficult exercises, and this is where the student builds automatic good habits that lead to success. It's also a method whose primary objective is the development of balanced registration and mix. Our most important objective in steps 1 through 6 is the development of mixed and balanced registration, which will eliminate voice breaks and enable to sing in their chosen musical style, increasing power and vocal range without sacrificing vocal health. In step 7, we learn advanced skills, musical skills like dynamics, flexibility, power, stepwise motion, and eliminating the helpers used in earlier steps. Step 8 is style development. This method is a method that will build reliable vocal technique. The voice is a system with various elements that must work in a coordinated fashion. Our objective is to develop every component of the voice system so the voice will function effortlessly. This is called building technique. When good technique becomes a habit, the singer can begin to move into artistry and expressing emotion. Technique will only become habit as a result of consistent practice with focused attention, as opposed to warming up, where you're not paying much attention. The 8 steps of vocal development method is a method based on the spiral learning concept. In spiral learning, steps are constantly revisited. Each time, the voice will be functioning at a higher level if singers have practiced the exercises from the previous week with focused attention. You'll be amazed at how well and how quickly this process will work for you and your students if you simply follow the steps exactly as presented in the manual and keep cycling through the steps at higher and higher levels. And this is the spiral learning process, little chart here. So first round of exercises, they're in discovery. They're experiencing a new and better coordination. Second round of exercises, more difficult. They're reinforcing this new coordination with focused repetition. Round 3, the most difficult of the exercises in each step, the development of automatic good habits. That leads to, ta-da, success. What the 8 steps of vocal development method is not. It's not a warm-up. It's vocal development based on acquiring specific skills. It's not a program for singers who will not practice exercises. To change current habits, singers must practice specific exercises with focused attention, with an objective or goal in mind. Singing songs is not practicing and is not effective for vocal development. Warming up is not vocalizing with a specific goal in mind and will contribute very little toward vocal development. Singing specific exercises in a specific order with focused attention is required for change to occur. It is not a program for classical or operatic singers. It's specifically for the contemporary singer of rock, R&B, country, jazz, gospel, pop, and musical theater. All right, the philosophy. It's based on the ideal of balance, balanced registration, balance of TA and CT muscle interaction, balance of breath pressure and vocal fold adduction, balance of bright and dark resonance, which we call chiaroscuro, and we also believe in a balance of hard work, technique and vocal development, and fun, singing songs, learning to riff and run, etc. in step 8. We use the tools of vowels, consonants, temporary sounds, and scales to create exercises that address the students' current vocal habits and create new and healthier habits. These exercises must be practiced daily for best results. Again, we base instruction on the spiral learning model, repeating concepts many times at higher and higher skill levels, and we just talked about that. All right, here's the 8 steps. Step 0 is the assessment and diagnosis step. So it's not a teaching step. It's where we do what we call a getting to know you, and this is what we do in step 0. We determine the student's vocal category as compared to the optimal balanced singer. First, we assess what is going on in the lower register. Some singers are too heavy in the lower register, and we call that unbalanced pulled lower. Some are too light in the lower register. We call that unbalanced light lower. They're unbalanced in their the lower and upper registers are unbalanced. And then the last category is undeveloped. This is the person that's just basically breathy all over the place. Then we talk about what happens in the upper register and what happens as the student transitions through the primo passaggio or the first bridge, and the current degree of balance between the registers. Step 1, we talk about breath management. As we lay the foundation of good singing, we also include posture stretching and appoggio techniques. Now, some people need this and some people don't need this. I mean, it's not a one size fits all. You have to adjust this to the needs of the student. In step 2, we activate and develop the lower register, focusing on the area of notes below the primo passaggio or first bridge. This is dominated by the TA or thyroarytenoid muscle. The objective is to sing with a modicum of projection and clarity rather than timidly, breathily, and weakly. We do an exercise called the easy call. Whoa! Just as if they're calling into the next room. In step 3, we activate and develop the upper register as we focus on the area above the primo passaggio or first bridge. This is dominated by the cricothyroid muscles, CT. The objective is to sing clearly with a modicum of projection rather than timidly, breathily, and weakly. Step 4, isolators. Now we're going to continue on with further development of lower TA dominant and upper CT dominant registers. This is done separately, still in step 4. We also toggle back and forth between lower and upper, which is a skill that really needs to be developed. One of the things I kind of noticed early on in my career is I felt like a lot of people were hitting, let's mix from the first minute, and it's like there really wasn't anything to mix because there wasn't much development of their lower register. So I think if we develop that lower and develop that upper, learn to go back and forth and give the student the feeling of what it's like to be kind of isolated in that. Not that it's ever really isolated, but dominant. Then they have a better chance at creating a good mix. And that's what we do in step 5. Step 5 is register connection with temporary sounds. We connect the lower and upper registers. The student begins to mix. In this step, we make a distinction between the pulled lower category singers, the ones that take their chest voice too high, and the light lower and undeveloped category singers, which are usually your breathy people and your chorus ladies. Exercises and keys are specific to each category. The objective is to develop better balance between the registers and to develop this upper register mix, along with the ability to transition smoothly through the primo passaggio, the first bridge. So I think I was telling Dean earlier that step 5 is everything I ever learned in SLS, pretty much. Step 6 is we talk about onset. So onset is how phonation begins. And I felt that really needed attention because we want the student to move beyond the kind of approach that we use when we're giving them tools or assisting them to bring their chords together or whatever, and move on to the balanced onset, which is the healthiest onset. We don't want people to stay necessarily in the kind of onset that we're using in steps 2, 3, and 4, because sometimes we need to use tools and devices that, rather strongly bring the vocal folds together. So we want to move past that. And a balanced onset can be created with staccato. And we also include in step 6 advanced vibrato. We find that if a person can sing with vibrato, the voice is usually pretty balanced and released. So onset refers to the way phonation is initiated. Balanced onset is neither breathy, aspirate, nor hyperadducted, which is too hard, pressed. In step 7, the advanced skills, the objective is the development of musical skills such as dynamics, including mezza di voce, that's when you crescendo, decrescendo, flexibility, power, and the ability to sing melodies and scales in stepwise motion, eliminating consonants to improve legato. And of course, step 8 is everybody's favorite step. That's the style step. The singer has fun learning riffs and runs of today's music, along with the pentatonic and blues scales that contemporary riffs and runs are based on. They also learn how to add texture and stylistic devices to sound authentic, singing in any style, including theater, country, rock, R&B. The teachers can choose to include step 8 exercises at any point in the student's development, because most students would really like to riff and run sooner rather than later. All right. This is the 8 steps of vocal development. Here's our vocal categories chart. So we want to aim for the ideal of balanced registration. Lower register and upper register are equally strong. The person who is too heavy on the bottom, we call that unbalanced, pulled lower. And the person who is too light on the bottom, chorus lady, unbalanced, light lower. And the person who's just breathy and weak all the way around, that's just an undeveloped singer. Tools for training voices. We have many tools that we use to train the voice. Some of them include the scales. The 5-tone ascending scale creates more hold when combined with open vowels. It exposes tendencies. It's used to diagnose and assess singers. It establishes the lower register coordination. A 5-tone descending scale, when used in the upper register, increases the ability to press into the bridge. When used in the lower register, it increases the ability to maintain adduction on lower pitches. The long scale, otherwise known as the 1.5, establishes lower register coordination, then releases into the upper register with connection. Good for register connection and balancing. The repeater scale develops the ability to press into the upper register. Repeater with sustain and repeater with sustain and vowel change. Increases the strength in the upper register, encourages vibrato, and develops ability to sing all vowels. Top-down scales finds released coordination in the upper register and then blends down. Top-down adducted finds connection in the upper register and then blends down with greater vocal fold adduction. Legato staccato exercises. They create balanced vocal fold adduction and register connection. The 1-5-3-8-5, which used to be called the broken arpeggio, register balancing and flexibility. Slides and sirens, great for register connections. Staccato, great for vocal fold adduction, balance between air and the vocal folds. Flexibility scales create the ability to sing fast melismas, runs, and licks in a song. Blues and pentatonic scales are used for all R&B runs and improvisation. Stepwise motion scales will create the ability to sing through the bridges in songs which require stepwise motion. Another tool that we have are our vowels. Closed front vowels such as E will provide release plus brilliancy. Closed back vowels such as oo provide release. Open front vowels such as a give us more mix and more hold. Central vowels such as and the schwa give us a balance and a better mix. French nasals also help us access our mix. German and French vowels made with the lips and the tongue, their combination vowels, are good for release. We also have consonants. Aspirate consonants such as H, S, F, and sh provide release and they increase airflow. The glide consonants such as W and Y and the liquid nasals M, N, and NY, ny, onion, they regulate airflow, the balance of air and vocal folds, registration balance, and mix. The voiced fricatives such as V, Z, J, and the regulate airflow, balance air, and the vocal folds. Plosives, P, K, T, stop air and then release it. They create better vocal fold adduction. Voiced stop consonants, G, B, D, J, like judge. They stop airflow, creating better vocal fold adduction and hold. The temporary sounds. The imposed larynx, the hooty, the dumb sounds help us transition from the lower to the upper by allowing CT muscles to take over. They counteract the tendency to hike the larynx. Pharyngeal sounds, also known as voce di strega, bratty, twang, they thin the vocal folds, encourage mix, and encourage vocal fold adduction. The creak, the vocal fry, or the creaky create easy vocal fold adduction, decrease strain, create balance between air and the vocal folds. The cry engages the body for better appoggio and vocal fold adduction. Semi-occluded phonations such as straw phonation, lip rolls, tongue trills create release and balance. The type of onset that we use can provide a certain result. If there's an it or an aspirate onset, such as huh, that gives us more release. If it's an adducted onset, eat, that gives us better vocal fold adduction. Appoggio and breath management are tools that provide a balance of airflow in a steady stream, just enough and not too much. We can think of vibrato as a tool, which indicates balanced vocal production, creating beauty and richness of tone. In the Tools for Training Voices chart, you always want to ask, is what I'm hearing too heavy or too light? Does it need more vocal fold adduction or less adduction? Does it need more hold or more release? The objective is to get into the mix by using tools that counteract incorrect tendencies. Gradually move from friendly vowels, consonants, and sounds toward those that are more challenging, always aiming for balanced registration and mix. And you see from left to right here, the tools that provide the most release, less vocal fold adduction, such as closed vowels, aspirate onset, etc. Mix in the middle, glide consonants, the the creak, the creaky door, the long scale, sirens and slides and staccato, all the way to the far right where we have open vowels, things that create more vocal fold adduction and hold, such as adducted onset, 5-tone in the lower register, voce di strega or witchy sounds, the tongue out. All of those will help us find a better vocal fold adduction.
You can sing